and Senator Abdul Haji, MP.
Ali Kololo is a free man after spending more than 12 years behind bars. Kololo had been sentenced to death over the murder of British tourist David Tebbout and the kidnap of his wife Jude, who was held in captivity in Somalia for 6 months. In an interesting case, Jude sought reprieve for Kololo, insisting authorities had the wrong man. In a ruling, High Court Judge Stephen Githinji found that Kololo was wrongly convicted.
Ali Babitu Kololo is a free man. He hit the headlines 12 years ago, accused of murder and kidnap. In a ruling that was delivered in less than a minute, Malindi High Court Judge Stephen Githinji ruled that Kololo was wrongly convicted. Kololo was arrested on the 12th of September 2011, a day after an armed gang stormed the room of British couple 58-year-old David Tebbout and 56-year-old Jude Tebbout, who had checked into a luxury resort in Kiwayu, Lamu for a holiday. David was shot dead and Jude was abducted, held in a forest for a week, taken by a speedboat to the Kenya-Somali border before she was driven to the then pirate stronghold in Asmara. The murder and kidnapping grabbed international headlines.
Search for a British woman kidnapped in Kenya.
David Tebbout and his wife love to travel.
Rescue operations improve.
Following negotiations, Jude was released after spending 6 months in captivity. Ali Kololo, who worked at the Kiwayu resort, was said to have been wearing plastic shoes whose marks were found at the scene of the murder. He was sentenced to death in July 2013 over robbery with violence. Jude has since 2011 insisted that the authorities got the wrong man and the culprits are walking free.
He was not part of that group that held me. I'd never seen him before. I've identified 5 different members of that group, and I could identify them tomorrow. They're in my head. They won't go out of my head.
Thursday's ruling brings to an end Kololo's fight through his lawyer Alfred Olaba to prove that he is innocent. And for Jude Tebbout, who has all along maintained Kololo had nothing to do with the murder of her husband and her kidnapping.
If Mr. Kololo is given a fair trial and he is freed, that will go a long, long way to help me move on.
It closes one chapter for Jude, opens another for Kololo, who has spent over 12 years behind bars, as the men behind the murder and kidnapping walk free. Rita Tinina, KTN News.
Laida Moona Perryman